Okay, what is even going on with my hair today? Okay, I promise you, like 5 minutes ago, it looked so bomb, and now it looks like this. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a two-part video. The first part is going to be a mini review on the brand new, not so new, but kind of still new, Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette. I have a lot to say about this, but I'm going to try to keep it really short right in the beginning of the video. And then I'm also going to show you guys how I came up with this look, which I actually really love. And we're going to just start off by talking about this baby first. And like I said, I want to keep the review really short, so let's just jump right into the review. Okay, so this is the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette, and this launched right after Subculture. You guys, if you haven't seen my Subculture video, I will link it right over here, so you can just click it and watch it. You guys know, if you watch that video, that I just did not like Subculture at all. The colors were just all over the place. The pigmentation on the eyeshadows was a little bit too much, where it made it like almost impossible to blend. There was so much fallout, like the fallout was just crazy, and overall that palette was just a huge miss for me. I actually had to send it back, so I actually don't even have the palette to show you guys. So I was a little bit like cautious about Prism, but I know that Anastasia does a really good job usually with all of their eyeshadow palettes. You guys know my Anastasia Modern Renaissance is like my ride or die. So I knew in my heart that Anastasia just kind of missed the mark with the Subculture, but I didn't want that to kind of dictate, you know, me purchasing from them in the future. So I did purchase the Prism palette, and I'm just gonna keep it real simple. I really like this palette. When I first saw it, I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I do, but you can do a lot with this palette. So I'm gonna just quickly talk about the outer packaging first. So it comes in like this like matte, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's kind of like this matte outer box. The whole like color theme of the palette is just very simple, black and gold, and I actually really love how sleek and simple the design is. It's perfect for the holiday season, and I just love how it just looks expensive to me. I don't know, like the packaging just looks really expensive. Okay, now let's go ahead and open this baby up. So you get 14 eyeshadows for $42, which I think is a very fair price, especially because these eyeshadows are so high quality and very pigmented that a little bit of product goes a long way. So this palette will last you a really long time because it's super pigmented. I also quickly want to touch a little bit on the color selection, because I'm not gonna lie, when I first looked at it, I was a little bit like, what? Like, you just see a big mix of like a whole lot of everything in here. You have some beautiful jewel tone colors like Thorn, and I don't even know how to pronounce this one right here, but this beautiful like purpley shade. Those are like the beautiful deep jewel tone colors. But then you also have some cool tones here. Then you have a mix of warm colors. Like I said, it's just a little mix of everything, but when you actually go and use the palette, somehow all the colors really work with one another. I actually personally think, with the exception of a true highlight shade, that's all they're missing in this palette, you can do a complete look just with this palette, because you have your transition shade right over here, you have a dark brown, you have a black shade. You can really do a finished look by just using this palette, with the exception, like I said, of a highlight shade. I also want to talk about the finishes of these eyeshadows. So you do have some matte shades over here, then you have these metallic eyeshadows, and my favorite eyeshadow from the entire palette is the shade Pyramid, and I kind of wish that I incorporated it somehow in today's look. This eyeshadow is one of the best gold eyeshadows I've ever used. I'm gonna insert a clip as I'm talking to you guys about it, but as soon as you apply it on the eye, it literally is like a gel eyeshadow that looks like it's like liquid eyeshadow. So I really love this eyeshadow, but I actually really like all of the colors in the palette, with the exception of the shade Sphere, which is right over here. Now this may be just like a personal preference, but I just feel like when I look at this palette, that's the one shade that looks totally out of place for me. I have used it once, like very lightly in the inner corner of my eyes, and I just didn't like it too much. It's very pigmented. It is a beautiful shade if you like colors like this, but this is just not my personal preference. Okay, now let's quickly talk about the performance of these eyeshadows. In my opinion, these eyeshadows really remind me of the eyeshadows from the Modern Renaissance palette. You guys know I love this palette because the eyeshadows are super pigmented, blend like a dream, and you only need a little bit of product. And those are my same exact feelings with these eyeshadows. They blend so beautifully, they layer on really nicely, they're super pigmented, you don't need a lot of product. Yes, there is a little bit of fallout, but it's very minimal, nothing too crazy. You kind of just have to tap your brush, especially with like the darker shades here. But if you just do that, these apply beautifully on the eye, and I'm just so happy that Anastasia is back with their amazing eyeshadows. I personally just really recommend this palette to you guys. From the actual formula of the eyeshadows to the color selection, I really do think that you will make a lot of use out of it. And if you purchase it, I don't think that you guys will regret it at all. Alright guys, so that's all I had to say for my review on the Prism palette. This is definitely an A+, and I cannot recommend this to you guys enough. Now let's just go ahead and jump onto creating this look. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with my eyes first. So I went ahead and primed my eyelids, and now I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Eden from the Prism palette, which is going to be my first and my transition shade for today's look. So Eden is going to go in my crease, and without taking any more product, I'm just swiping my brush back and forth and depositing this color basically like all over my lid, but focusing in my crease. Then I'm going to go ahead and deepen up this look a little bit by adding the shade Lure right on top of Eden. So basically the same thing I did with Eden, I'm also doing with Lure, just to kind of add more dimension to this look without making it too smoky just yet. But now we're going to really deepen up this look, and for that I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Parallel, which is a beautiful matte deep brown, and that's going to go in my crease area. And you guys can see hopefully in the video as I'm doing it, but I'm concentrating most of the color just in my crease, and then I do go ahead and give this a final blend. And as you guys can see, by just adding the one eyeshadow Parallel, this look has become so much more smoky than we originally started off with. I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Obsidian, which is a very matte black eyeshadow, and I'm using this with a pencil brush as close to my lash line as possible. I'm not putting this all over my crease, just as close to my lash line as possible, because I want this to mimic like a very smoky eyeliner look, and I really love doing this step in all my eyeshadows. It makes such a beautiful difference. But anyway, moving on, now I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Dimension, which is one of my favorite shades from this entire palette, and that's going to go on the first half of my eyelid. Then I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Oasis or Osiris, and that's going to go in the second half of my eye, and I'm kind of blending it in with all of the other eyeshadows that we added earlier. You guys, I'm using a lot of different eyeshadows, but like I said, I really wanted you guys to see how each of these perform. So I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Lucid, and that's going to go in the inner corner of my eyes, and this shade is really going to help make my eyes more open and really make them pop. Then I went ahead and quickly cleaned up any fallout underneath my eyes with a wet wipe. Let's move on to the eyeliner. I'm using the Tarte Sex Kitten liner and creating a very quick winged liner. Now the black eyeshadow that I used earlier helps so much because I already have like a guideline, but I did want to kind of perfect it, so I did go ahead and use like a pen liner. But as you guys can see here, I'm going back in with the Obsidian eyeshadow and kind of smoking it out a little bit more because I didn't really like that harsh liner look. I wanted it to be more blended, more smoked out. So taking a pencil brush again and really smoking everything out. Now to finish off the eyes, I'm taking the Anastasia Glow Kit in Sun Dipped, and I'm using the shade Summer, and that's going to be my underbrow highlight. I also went ahead and added the Ardell Demi Wispy lashes. And now let's move on to the face. We will go back to the eyes in just a few minutes. So today I'm starting off by using the RK by Kiss Cosmetics Orange Color Corrector, and I'm applying that directly underneath my eyes, around my mouth, and on the side of my face. All the areas where I do have a little bit of discoloration, I'm applying this color corrector to neutralize that. And then I'm going to go right on top and apply my Huda Beauty foundation in the shade Macchiato. Now I have been wearing this for a couple of weeks, so I kind of also wanted to give you guys an updated review on this. I really do like this foundation. The scent is a little bit much, but you kind of get used to it as it's on your skin. I do want to call that out, but I really love the finish and the coverage of this foundation. And when you first, or at least for my skin tone, when I first apply it directly on my face, it does look light, but it gets like, it blends more in with my skin tone as the day goes on. So I really do like this foundation, and I do recommend it to you guys. But anyway, now let's go ahead and conceal underneath the eyes. So for that, I'm using the Laura Mercier Candle Glow Highlight in number 2. And I'm applying that directly underneath my eyes, as well as on my forehead and down the bridge of my nose. And then I'm taking the same beauty blender that I used earlier and really blending this into place. I love this highlight slash concealer so much. I don't know why I like had to think about that, because it's so natural on the skin and it's very light as well, but you can always build the coverage, but it doesn't look heavy or cakey. So I really like this concealer a lot. To set everything in place, I'm going to go ahead and use my Bare Minerals Bare Pro powder in the shade Toffee. You guys know I love this powder. I use it all the time. It's one of my favorite face powders ever. Now to contour my face, I'm using the Anastasia contour kit. I'm using a bunch of different colors, and this is one of my favorite contour kits ever. This is actually one of my only ones that I use, and I highly recommend it. And I'm applying that on the sides of my face to kind of carve out my cheekbones and add more dimension to my skin, because as you guys saw before, my face looked so freaking flat. For my blush today, I'm using one from MAC, and this is called Linda. This is one of their newest blushes, and the color is so beautiful for my skin tone. I love it and highly recommend it. And now let's go ahead and finish off the face with a little bit of highlight. I'm going back and using the Anastasia Glow Kit in Sun Dip. I'm kind of mixing in a few different colors and applying this on the high points of my face. And I'm actually now going back to the eyes as well, and I'm using the shade Osiris underneath my waterline, as well as also applying a dark brown gel eyeliner in my waterline to quickly finish off the eyes. Finish off this look, I'm using the Kat Von D liquid lipstick in the shade Lolita, which is one of my all-time favorites, and applying this all over my lips. And that is it, you guys. This is the final look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this mini review as well as this mini tutorial or full tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and a lot of giveaways coming very soon. I will talk to you guys in my next video, and I love you guys so much. Bye!